to If These Walls Could Talk. Oh my God, I have a mouthful about why we're all at where we are today. Before I get to my incredible guest, Tym Moss is broadcasting from Indiana. Can you imagine? We're like so global, Tim. This is like
right.
We go everywhere on this show now.
Yeah,
and if anyone wants to write us a plane ticket to like Greece or somewhere really nice like that, Tim and I are happy to turn up in our living room. That's
absolutely
right.
No, I saw Sue sitting where I usually sit, and I thought, my God, I look great today.
Right. This is where Tim usually sits. Now, before I get to my guest, my gosh, Tim, you came to Indiana to visit family, yeah?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years since I've seen my family. So I'm starting on one side of the state and working my way across. Right. And my nieces right now, and then I'm going to see my father in the middle of the state tomorrow. And then over the weekend, I go up on the other side of the state around Fort Wayne to see my brother. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the time with my bestie, Nancy.
So it's like the world tour of Indiana, is it not? Tim, it doesn't get any better than that, except for me, where I was this weekend.
Where were you?
I had not seen my family for 20 months. From Thanksgiving before this whole pandemic. And I went to Littleton, Massachusetts, and it was a very fun-filled 24 hours. We went to Kimball's Ice Cream, which I talked about last week on the show. It did not disappoint. Let me tell you, the mini ice cream there is like this. And when you leave Kimball's, if you can't move, you're in good shape.
Yeah.
So it was so great.
That's one of the things that I love here also is I'm revisiting some of my childhood stomping grounds and some of the original places in these small towns are still there. Like tomorrow I get to eat at Haps, Mr. Happy Burger. Oh, they're the best.
Okay, what makes the burger so happy?
I don't know. It's the environment, everything. It's wonderful. And Bruno's Pizza. Oh, love Bruno's.
Oh, I'm sure Bruno, with a name like Bruno, and he's Italian, he's got a lot more than pizza.
So I'm going to eat my way across the state.
There you go. So, let me get back to our guest today. We are so excited. We not only Tim and this amazing person have an incredible relationship for a very long time. I've heard her name forever. She is known as the godmother of cabaret. My gosh, 35-year cabaret jazz singer, a comedian, a writer. She wrote the book. Co-authored with David Sabella. So You Want to Sing Cabaret. She does everything. The 2020 Bistro Award. And without further ado, I want you all to meet Sue Matsuki. And she's here. Oh, I'm really excited. When she walked in the door here today, because I was expecting her on the live stream, she walked in and I'm like, oh my God, she's here in the flesh. It doesn't get any better.
Very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. And welcome to our show today. How have you been doing? We're all like New York, because so many of us are vaccinated. We're sort of coming out of this pandemic. What have you been doing through this whole thing?
I came back singing live in April. Believe it or not, I was.
You were the first
live here, right here at PANGEA,
I love it.
Which is where we're filming. West Bank and PANGEA. I chose to go live at those two places because they both have doors that open up, so there was fresh air still coming in.
Oh, that's interesting, right? The ventilation.
It was important to me in the beginning that people who were coming to see me were safe. Right. And since both these places, the doors were open, there was air, and they had strict protocol rules. They had partitions between their tables, so I chose to accept gigs there. And boy, singing live, I've got to tell you, I'm on stage for the first time in 20 months or something like that, singing live. And I thought it would be all about me going, oh, I'm singing live. Look at this and this fancy. But when I looked out and saw my friends and some strangers that just came in for dinner talking to each other and having this kind of get together.
Did you feel I feel like I want to cry just even speaking to you. It had to be emotional.
It was very emotional. And I realized that, I always say when I teach that you don't sing for yourself. It's always about the audience. And in that moment, I realized this was really all about what I'm doing for them, bringing people together after being isolated for all this time. So it's been awesome.
Well, it's incredible because you and Tim performed here, and it was the same thing when Tim did his show at PANGEA. It was such an emotional night.
Yeah.
Not only the content of the show, but the fact this room, the cabaret room here, was the last place I was before they shut New York down.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to get emotional now. I can't. And there I was, you know, here
kind
again.
of full circle. Yeah.
It's the full circle of what we do. So what was it like? They shut New York down March 12th.
Mm-hmm.
You're a stage performer, all right? I know you teach as well, but you couldn't do your thing. So what went through your head?
Yikes. And I was not that technically adept at these things. None of us were really. I mean,
you can include me in that.
Well, you know, the Zoom and the StreamYard.
Had to learn it all.
The what do you call that other thing? The Jam Kazam, all the, I mean,
I haven't done Jam Kazam.
Oh my goodness. Well, it helps with the latency issues in terms of performing. You don't have that jet lag type thing with the vocals and the music. So Jam Kazam's really been
so it's more for singers. I saw you mentioned that online, and I'm like, I have to ask her what Jam Kazam is.
So the first thing was kind of a mini freak out about, of course, about the pandemic, and it didn't really matter. Singing didn't really matter. People getting sick and friends passing and all that.
Did you had people that passed?
Yeah, I knew 2 people very closely. Right. One was a little girl that had
a little girl.
No, I call her a little girl. She was in her 50s. I'm older than she is, but she's always been like a little sister. And she had health issues, and she was one of the first. Yeah. So it was that was a realization of okay, we're in. And then as soon as I kicked that out of my psyche, I decided, how can I reach people? So I started writing my Sue's Views and writing inspirational things, like I did 4 columns on what to do during the pandemic in terms of how to keep yourself busy, how to organize.
How did you spring into action? A lot of creative people were really stifled by this. They couldn't clear their head. They couldn't write. They couldn't get ahead during this. What did you tell yourself?
Oh, it's funny. It started with David Sabella, who's the co-author of the book that I wrote, So You Want to Sing Cabaret. So we had this book. It was delayed in its publication. Okay. So then, oh my God, what do? We can't have a book release show, and we've got this book sitting there. Right. So the first thing we did artistically, which I think jump-started everything, was an online book release show. It's a 90-minute show with so many superstars in it. You can go to
that is brilliant marketing. Yeah. We're talking about brilliant marketing
but
here.
You can go to Cabaret hotspot.com and go to the book, and then below the book you can watch this whole 90-minute video for free, and it's got Andrea Marcovici, Katie Sullivan, oh my God, Jeff Harner.
Well, how did you get all them involved in this?
Well, they were all interviewed in the book. So the original show was going to be at Green Room 42, and we were going to have them all come and do a number and have a really big, and they all agreed because they're all interviewed in the book. And
so you had set that up prior, not even knowing about the pandemic.
Right,
what a brilliant way to use it. Did you bring them in on Zoom? Or?
We did. Well, what we did was we interviewed everybody, and we got clips from them with their sanction. They provided us clips because I have a thing about people having to okay their own clips.
Yeah.
I think that really is terrible when people don't do that. And we put the show together, and Lena Katrakis, who's one of my directors and an awesome human being, and her fiance Roger is a technical whiz.
I was going to say, because I'm listening to everything she's saying and I'm hearing who is the technical whiz.
But he put all of this together in a way, and the book release show starts off with with Liza Minnelli singing Cabaret and images. Images. Ding dong. There's a church across the street.
Yeah, really. There is. My God.
There is. There literally is.
Oh, we're having a heavenly moment here, are we not, Sue? Oh my goodness.
So he put it all together for us and everything, but we did an opening thing of what cabaret isn't. So we had these Liza Minnelli singing "Welcome to Cabaret." We had the book. We had pictures from the movie. We had like a sleazy kind of comedian guy. We had girls with fans, and then there was like this record.
The girls with the fans.
Then there was like this record scratch. No, that's not what cabaret is. That's how the show started, and then we proceeded to discuss the book and what cabaret is, the intimate format, and then had all these amazing people who agreed to be
It's
interviewed
incredible.
and perform, do the show.
But you really discussed two components that you needed for it to be successful. You need the technical whiz,
Right.
and you need the performers.
Right.
I think that's something we've all learned during this pandemic.
Well, look
that-
at what you guys are doing.
Oh,
You weren't
God.
doing this before.
No, we weren't. And I remind myself of that every single day. We weren't doing this before. I told Sue when she walked in, she said, how are you going to be doing podcasting going forward or whatever? I said, all I want is I love this location, but a 2-camera shoot, technical people where all I have to do is walk onto the set
And be charming and lovely.
and be charming and lovely and not even have to worry. So I am admiring that you figured out how to launch your book during this. And that's an inspiration for people.
So, but Roger really had the technical skills, as did David
You need it,
Sabella. So
right.
then little by little, David started teaching all of us for Lena's vocal class how to use the Jam Kazam, how to use the clean feed, how to sign on to Zoom. And then eventually I learned how to test myself. Like when I do these open mics, these virtual open mics, there's a whole thing you have to do beforehand.
Right.
Like, you have to check your light. You have to check if anything's behind you.
Right.
You have to check your sound.
Right. Exhibit A, we had this light and it was on. It was behind
I
Sue.
had a halo.
She noticed it like immediately. I never remember that light coming out of your head, Tim, when you were here.
No.
That like this has been off, so we did shut it off. But
Smaller
yeah,
head.
you caught it right away. I was impressed.
But the biggest thing for all of us as singers are the sound level versus the vocal level.
Mhm.
And you can share sound through Zoom, but there's latency, and
Yeah,
latency
that
is
makes
like
me
the
crazy.
bane.
It's the
bane of it.
bane.
And even if the sound is the words are going with the music, if the lips aren't synced with the words, that drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So Jam Kazam has been the way to go with that. And but then it's a whole other thing where you have to set up all this other equipment. So it was a huge learning curve.
Well,
But the video for the book spurred me on to learn these new things, spurred me on to self-teach myself how to present myself in a professional way. And then I wrote columns about it to share with other people.
So that is, you know what, you are not only an amazing performer, but you really have the whole give back thing. You writing columns to
Mhm.
share this with other people, because you know what, a lot of us, we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
What do you do? And now we're finding these skills that we picked up. We can move all of these forward. I am curious, where did you grow up?
Waterbury, Connecticut, the little mill town. If anybody goes up to Hartford,
I did. I was just through Waterbury. I can't believe she said it. The traffic went going through Waterbury on Route 84. You will sit. I don't care
forever.
what time of day it is. And there's a hospital. We went past there,
St.
and
Mary's.
St. Mary's. And I drive. My husband doesn't drive. And I said to him, can you imagine what could be worse than being in the hospital in Waterbury, Connecticut at St. Mary's?
And you get to look at Holy Land, which is that gigantic fluorescent cross up. on
Yes. Oh my
the-
God.
Welcome to Waterbury.
So you're a Connecticut girl, and you're
I
a
am.
Waterbury,
I
Connecticut
am.
girl. So did you come from a large family?
I have 7 brothers, no sisters. So I was,
7
of course, the featured child. You know.
Were you spoiled?
No, my parents, I think, went out of their way not to spoil me, but
Right.
my brothers kind of all individually spoiled me, mostly because they all wanted something from me.
At least you knew it. You didn't take it personal.
So were you the oldest, the youngest?
No, I'm the third oldest, 5 youngest, but in my mother and my stepdad's house, there were 5 of us, 6 of us, and then there were 2 other brothers that were my biological father's children.
From
So we didn't all, I had 5 brothers and myself in one house, and then 2 other brothers in another location. But I was the third oldest. I had, 3 younger brothers.
Now, when did you find out you could sing, and when did you develop your passion for singing?
Well, it's funny. I started as a dancer. Maybe you didn't know that.
I didn't get
Tim,
that.
Tim, I think knew that.
Yeah.
I was a ballet point dancer, and I
Wow.
went to the Hartford School of Ballet.
So you were good.
I was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I was Zoftic and big, although not,
Yeah,
big.
but for ballet, what I've been told, they
yeah.
bind you
Yeah.
and crazy stuff.
So I wasn't your stereotypical
Body.
looking body type.
Right.
And it wasn't until like 5 years later that Jamison of the Harlem Ballet Company and Alvin Ailey started putting bigger, healthier women as lead dancers that everything changed. You know, now it's all about the healthy dancer versus the little petite. But I came up during the little petite body type for dancing. And then I did ballroom dancing with my partner,
I love that.
Luis Manuel Irizarry.
Wait, say the you got the
Luis Manuel Irizarry.
Irizarry.
He was
it's
Spanish.
the third. He was from
Spanish.
Spain. That's Spanish from Spain. That's like Ibiza is Ibiza.
Yeah.
Okay.
We used to dance salsa, merengue,
love
and cha-cha. We would open up all the
You got the roll down good,
Yeah.
Sue. Merengue.
merengue.
I can't roll.
But we were practicing in my kitchen one time, and Louis was slim, and he's like trying to dip me, and he's trying to lift me up from that dip, trying to lift me up, and then I fall down, he falls down on top of me, like we're spread eagle on the kitchen floor. My mother walks in, she goes, "Oh, Louis, teach me that step."
I love your mother already. That's great.
Yeah.
That's what I call parental.
One question I have, backing up to your ballet days, when you were saying that you came in the petite years,
Yeah.
how did that affect you psychologically? I mean, I'm sure that in a way that carried on long after those years.
Yes, of course it did. And I was what they called a sweater girl because I was, you know, I
boom, boom.
bosomy
Yeah.
and, you know,
Oh.
and really what Wendy just
boom,
said before
boom.
about having to kind of bind down for your
Wow.
costumes. They didn't want any kind of curves, you know, which is why I gravitated later on to jazz and to
That did a
ballroom
lot of
dancing.
damage to a friend of mine who's in our ilk, let's just say. It did a lot of psychological damage. Good that Tim went there.
Yeah.
What was that like for you and your self-esteem?
Yeah, it was hard because when I got hurt, this is the bad thing. When I got hurt, and this is all prior to singing, and what led me to singing was
Right.
the fact I got hurt for dancing, and I needed to still perform somehow. And I knew I could kind of sing because I sang in church and I got solos, but I was always afraid to sing, and I never really sang publicly. And so when I got hurt with dancing, I started to gain weight, and that's when the trauma started because not only did I carry over, I mean, I remembered Edward Villela, a ballet great, doing a master class, and I walked in to do the death scene to Swan Lake, and he looks me up and down. He goes, "My darling, you're not a ballerina, you're a burlesque queen."
Oh,
And
Wow.
then I had to perform, right? I had to perform. So I did the death scene, Swan Lake.
And you were dying inside.
I was dying, but you know what that man did? He walked over to me. You know, you end in the death position. He put his hand out. He lifted me up. He presented me to the room. And he
wow.
apologized. He said that was
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
So-
Good and amazing.
Yeah.
You didn't let them see you sweat. How
Right.
what did you have to say to yourself?
I just said I'm going to do what I do, and I do this with singing all the time because you
Right.
know Tim knows how competitive singing and,
Yeah.
and the circle that we have are very supportive, but there are others in the business
Of
that are
course.
not supportive, and you have to kind of let everybody do what they do and just stay in your own lane, like our friend Richard always says, "Stay
Yep.
in your lane."
Right.
Rick Skipper always says that. Yep.
Yeah.
I so totally believe that.
I do too.
So, and to get an apology from him, that had to be
Yeah.
everything, you know, well deserved,
Yeah.
by the way.
And then singing too, you know, you didn't really. I wasn't ingenue and I wasn't Anita. I was kind of
Right.
always a second banana personality, but I wasn't an Imogen Coco type, you know. So Broadway
like that.
never really called me, although it is honestly, if I could put out to the universe my next job, it would be to be a Broadway star next life.
We're putting it out there.
So it is. And
In
so
her
it is.
next life, or maybe even in this one, wants to be a Broadway star. There, I said it. Affirmation.
Again, rewinding, because you kind of skimmed over the
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah.
The injury. You kind of skimmed over that.
Yeah. Well,
Let's talk about your injury.
I mashed up my knee several times to the point where you couldn't be on point anymore. You know,
Oh my goodness. From dancing. From some,
dancing.
yeah. How old
from
were
dan-
you when your knee got all messed up?
I was still dancing the ballroom in freshman, sophomore year of college.
Okay,
But I think the
right.
ballet was right before I went to college. So I think the last thing I did, I was Miss Waterbury.
You were. My mother was Miss New Haven.
1976.
Oh, she
yes.
was 1935. But I have another Connecticut beauty queen next to me. I wonder what it all means.
I actually didn't win. I was first runner up, and I got
She
the
was
crown
fifth runner up
because
in Miss America,
Yeah.
so you got a crown.
I got. Well, no, they took the other girl won. There was rumor that she lost her crown for some reason having to do with the director of judges. I'm not going to go there.
She
And
lost
so-
her virginity and her crown at the same time.
I'm not that fly on the wall, but I'm just saying, and and anyway, so they gave me the crown and let me have like 3 months reign, and then they took the crown back to put it on the other girl's head, so I never got the crown.
Oh my
I
God.
got one picture that proves I was Miss Waterbury for 5 minutes, So, but the last time I danced, I was 17, going to be 18, and that was my talent for the Miss Waterbury pageant. Is I did the death scene to Swan Lake. So probably I was 17 when I stopped doing 16 or 17 when I stopped doing point, but I had been off point for like 2 years before. I had to kind of get myself back in shape to actually do that one performance.
Now, would you say that when you were a little girl that being a ballerina was your ultimate goal, or was that more other people's ideas planted in your head?
My mom, God rest her soul, my mom had a lot of emotional issues, and really kind of back in the day, we didn't have names for some of the things that people are diagnosed with these days. So she was unmedicated and living this life with this hard mental health condition. Yeah. And I always said you can hate the condition, but you can't hate the parent. I mean, it's a product of the mental health. I hated that she wouldn't get help for it, but she lived vicariously through me. She wanted to be a ballerina.
Well, that's beautiful.
And so I would dance for her, and I also would draw, and she wanted to be an artist. So, whatever my mom really wanted to be or do in her life, because she had a very rough life, I just wanted to make her happy and do. So I don't know that had I known it was singing, I envy all these young kids like I'm teaching now. They know what they want. Had I known when I was 8 or 9 that I wanted to sing, that I wanted this, who knows what that would have led me to.
Right.
But and also that it came to me when it came to me.
It came to you, which is
and also the fact that you were the only girl.
Yeah.
Right.
You would want to, funnel all of that.
It's wonderful that you can look at the relationship with your mother and understand her mental illness. Yeah. I had this discussion with Jed Ryan last night and Richard Pryor Jr. We were talking about this exact thing. And I said, well, your parent's your parent. You have to love them no matter what. But if it's so damaging and so cruel, sometimes that's impossible. It seems like your mom was on your team because you did things to make her happy. It was her vicariously living through you. So you let her have some satisfaction.
But she also made my shoes so big that I couldn't even fill them.
Oh, that's an incredible point.
For example, I should do a show called Always a Bridesmaid, Never a Bride, because I was always first runner up in everything. I never really won anything. I was always first runner up. So I first runner up in these talent shows, but my mom would go to the neighbors who were at the talent show and say, Susan won. I'm like, no, I didn't. I got the transistor radio. I didn't get the bicycle. I didn't win.
Oh, but I love a transistor radio. I think you did just fine. I love that she was so proud.
But think about this. That translated to that little girl as, okay, I didn't win. It's not enough.
Right.
Mom didn't think I was enough just winning first runner up.
Or maybe she was a little embarrassed that you weren't the winner.
Yeah, whatever it was, that it did something, because Tim knows me on another level personally, and my biggest issue is never feeling like I'm enough. I know how much I do. Right. I never feel like at the end of the day when I go to bed that I'm enough. And I think it goes, not to get all psychological or whatever. And I'm an adult and I deal with it, and I've dealt with it now. But things like that can chip away at a child's soul, which is why I'm so glad I'm teaching children now to understand how talented they are and, the aspects of the business.
You're such a positive influence for them, and again, throughout what you've been talking about, you give back. And I think teaching is one of the most profound ways a person can give back. Tim, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, but being someone who does give back, and also that you never think you're enough. Firstly, I want to get into a little bit later in the show, but I wanted to read a couple of things here. We have people watching, and John Jigan Griffin.
John, hi, John.
Yes, so he's wonderful. He said, I love hearing Sue's story, inspiring. May have missed it, but who inspired Sue?
Oh, different phases. My biggest mentor, my biggest cheerleader was the late, great Julie Wilson.
I knew Julie. Oh my God.
Yeah.
My best girlfriend, her mother and Julie Wilson were best friends. Bernadette O'Hara and
I know
Julie.
who Bernie-
I
yeah,
figured
I knew
that
who
you
Bernadette
did.
was,
My
yeah.
God, and Julie was amazing.
Yeah. So Julie took me under her wing, and we had chicks night out once a month and got all dialed up, and she taught me all the rules of the road, you know. And so she was in cabaret. She was one of my biggest influences. I think I'm not a religious person, but I think that the Reverend Scannell, John Scannell, who worked at the Christ Episcopal Church, was a huge influence in acknowledging that I had a voice, not just a singing voice, but I had a voice. Like I was in the choir and I babysat his children, and he saw something in me that wasn't just this little Milltown kid with a lot of responsibilities and a mother that was challenging. He just saw
something unique and got behind you.
Got behind me and believed in me. I think his belief meant the world, and his wife too, Alice. She was the choir director.
Both of them.
Yeah. So, you know, and each, you know, Marilyn May's been in my life. Richard Skipper, my goodness.
Incredible.
Not only is he like a brother to me, but he's the first with his hand up to say, how can I help? What can I do?
Yeah.
So I've been very, very lucky. And the circle of incredible women, my sisterhood and men.
Right.
I do have a lot of men in that group too, but there's a particular group of women that you don't necessarily think of as, you know, cabaret singers as being supportive of each other. This circle is amazing.
I think my friend Meg Flather is in that
is
group. She's amazing. I want to read this quote here because it spoke to me. Matsuki is quite definitely a crossover cabaret jazz performer with an interesting polyglot style and presence all her own. That was Jan Waldman, legendary jazz club owner and writer for Nightlife Exchange.
Well, you want to hear something?
I want to hear about that.
Jan Waldman was and is, as far as I'm concerned, the original godmother of cabaret. That was her moniker. That was what people called Jan Waldman. And Jan Waldman gave a lot of us. I was one of the last people to sing at Jan Waldman's before she closed her doors. So I was so grateful to have that. I was grateful to have that on my resume because she was a real connoisseur of voices. And I remembered I did one kind of show tune set and one kind of jazzy set. And she came up to me afterwards. She goes, "Stick to the standards. It's your heart music. Stick to the standards."
Tell me what I love this word, polyglot style.
I think that's just kind of a mishmash of
oh my
things.
God, it's great. It's a great word.
I call myself cabaret jazz because I'm not really
gorgeous
jazz girl, and if I'm singing jazzy, it's with a real connection to my lyric, which is very cabaret. And you know, there are great jazz singers who have great connections to their lyrics, but it's not just about singing about the music in jazz. It's so I call myself kind of a cabaret jazzy singer.
But when I looked at a lot of your work online, and that's what I loved about it. I'm like, oh my God, she has such a special. It's your style. And we were talking about, you know, being individuals and not being like everybody else. And you said, Richard Skipper says, stay in your own lane. You are a perfect example of somebody that has stayed in their own lane.
Yeah, I love this genre. I mean, I wrote this book because it's funny though. The new show I'm opening, I said earlier, I want to come back as a Broadway star. The new show I'm opening this fall is called This Broad's Way.
Okay, and I have the card.
She just happens to have the card here.
Exhibit A. It may be a little shiny.
Like me, I'm a little shiny right now.
Okay.
But this show is basically not all those, but many of the show tunes that I grew up listening to that I love, but reimagined by my current musical director, who's a jazz god, as far as I'm concerned, Gregory Teroyan. Yeah. And we have a full band on it, Skip Ward and David Silliman, my bass and drum player. And so we're doing that show here at PANGEA in the fall. And it's
the date. I always like to give dates. September 25th. October 23rd and November 20th.
And November 20th is my birthday. So if you come on that night, there's going to be cupcakes.
Great. Okay. That's the night I'm coming. I never miss a cupcake. But I love that you're going to be here really once a month.
Yeah.
So people can come here and see you. I think that's important.
Yeah. We're here at Pangea's every second Sunday, and we do a real jazz brunch open mic. So it's this Sunday, actually, Sunday the 11th, and then I think it's August. What is the dates? August. July 11th and August 8th are the next couple dates. The first set from 12 to 1 is any of you that want to come in and sing a song. You bring 2 copies of one of your tunes, and we put everybody's name in a hat, and we draw names.
Oh my
because
gosh.
I don't like this kind of snooty thing about excluding anyone. So we
love
randomly
that.
choose.
I like that.
We choose as
Yeah,
many
love
as we
that.
can get in the hour. Sometimes it's 12,
Sure.
sometimes it's 15, but we get as many people up as we can. The second set, drawn from those people that sing at the open mic, we give 3 people a 3-song arc as a special guest. So then we have those people aspiring to get the second spot. And then the third set is just myself and the band singing out the afternoon.
Who came up
song.
with the structure for that show?
I
I
did.
love that.
It's great, right? Isn't that's such an incredible way of doing it?
Yeah.
What we
Now,
have is
Once,
now.
once again, you're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our amazing guest, Sue Matsuki. I am on vacation in Indiana, and Sue and Wendy are at PANGEA. And if you look below, there's a GoFundMe for PANGEA, because, of course, they, like everyone else, got hit during this pandemic, and we want to try to help out as much as we can. So if you can contribute anything to PANGEA's GoFundMe, we appreciate this.
And absolutely. And if you're a performer and you're in the genres that we're talking about, you know, they book incredible talent here. Reach out. This is a wonderful place to perform. They have a front area as well as a cabaret room in the back, where I just saw Tim. Weren't you the first big thing to have back there?
You
It
opened
was
the Gay Pride, right?
Yeah.
No, I kicked off Pride Week at PANGEA. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's such an incredible place. You know, we've talked so much about support here. PANGEA has supported all the performers.
Yeah.
It's important as performers that we all support each other. Lord knows it can be a cold, cruel world in the entertainment business. So if we don't get out there and have each other's back, who else will? Is this a good time to see your clip?
I was just going to say, we have Sue Matsuki. Sue Matsuki, our guest, is just incredible. So let's take a look at her performing one of the numbers, and you'll see why we love her so much.
Hey, y'all. It's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. I'd like to sup with my baby tonight and play the pup with my baby tonight. I'd like to sup with my baby tonight and play the pup with my baby tonight. But I ain't up to my baby tonight 'cause it's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. I'd like to coo with baby tonight and pitch some woo with my baby tonight. I'd like to coo with my baby tonight and pitch some woo with my baby tonight. But brother, you fight my baby tonight 'cause it's too darn hot. According to the Kinsey report, every average man you know much prefers to play his favorite sport when the temperature is low. But when the thermometer goes way up and the weather is sizzling hot, Mr. Adam for his madam is not, 'cause it's just too darn hot. It's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. That's the very hot Mr. Gregory Toroyan. Summertime and the living is easy. Summer wind came flowing in from across the sea. We're having a heat wave, a tropical heat wave. 70 today. We got a clang, clang, boom, steam heat. We got a clang, clang, boom, steam heat. hot time. Summer in the city. Back of my neck getting dirty and gritty 'cause it's hot. Yeah, it's hot. RH. I want to coo with my baby. Make some woo with my baby. But it's too darn hot. It's just too darn hot. According to the Kansas report, every average man you know much prefers his lovey-dovey to sport when the temperature is low. But when the thermometer goes way up and the weather is sizzling hot, Mr. Gob for his squab, a Marine for his queen, a GI for his cutie pie is not, 'cause it's just too darn hot. It's too darn hot. It's too darn hot. Summertime and the living ain't easy, 'cause we're having a heat wave. Yay! It is so weird watching you.
I love the way you put the whole, besides having your own style, the way you put it all together, how you came back to the summertime and having, I mean, it's perfect for today. We couldn't have picked a better.
That's kind of the premise of what this Broadway show is going to be all about, taking a standard Broadway tune and kind of mixing it up and doing our own thing with it. So
one thing I've got, Gregory Terrorian.
He's a god.
You have worked with him for how
this is
years?
27. I've been singing for 35 years. I've been with Gregory for 27 years.
Wow. Tim reads my mind, because my question was how you and Gregory not only met, but you knew that it was going to be magic.
Well, we met 34 years ago at the Village Gate.
Oh my God, the Village Gate.
We met there. I was singing as one of the sidewalk singers with Gary Pace, Vanessa Vickers, Meg Flather, Christian Daisy. And Gregory used to play for this gal named Judy Beatty. And I thought he was awesome. He had really dark hair and, you know, those kind of cool 60s glasses back in the day, you know. And I was working with someone else that was really Broadway centric. And I just said, again, to the universe, I wish I could remember the name of that guy that used to play for Judy. And boom, Gregory Terrorian. Now, not Joe Smith, Gregory Terrorian popped into my head. Wow. I looked up in the phone book. There were two.
It's not such a common name.
I called the first number, and he was like 2 blocks away from my office. And I went to go see him, and I was like rambling. Oh, my God, I met you at the Village Gate. I'm sure he was like, oh, geez, what am I going to get myself into? Yeah, come over. We'll meet. So I go over there and I start to sing a song, and he takes his hands off the piano, that's Gregory's high praise, or you know, when he takes his hands off the piano, he has something important to say.
I love this.
Anyone who works with him knows that that's his way of speaking. So he takes his hands off the piano, and he looks at me, he goes, "Now I remember you."
Wow.
What a great start to a relationship. And we've been together.
The rest is history.
It's like having that dance partner. It's like Louis. Louis used to go do this with his hand and do that with his hand, and I knew we were going left or we're going right. I have that same kind of emotional and lyrical connection. If my voice is full and big, he pulls back. If he knows I'm compromised, he fills in. If I've done something wrong and I've missed an entry, he just, you know, he never lets anyone see.
It is that lyrical connection.
It really is. Spiritual
yeah,
and lyrical.
I think it totally has to be that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, you've gotten so many awards here.
Mm-hmm.
The 2020 Bistro Award.
Yeah, that's what this clip was from. So I did win a few things. I want to
talk about what you mean. No, this thing of always bridesmaid, never bride. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Let's talk about all the awards.
The Bistro Awards. That is very highly coveted.
Yeah, the Bistro meant a lot to me. I mean, I guess the three, my MAC Awards, I have like 11 nominations,
3 wins in the
in 7 categories. So I'm kind of working my way through the categories. I would like to be nominated for every category. Just
what are the
fun.
Categories? Can you share that with us?
I got duo. I got special productions, vocalist, major female vocalist,
major female vocalist,
CD. I can't remember them all, but there's 7 different categories. But Ed Clark and I, when we did Sue and Ed's, we were like the Susan Lucci of that category.
Got it,
Every
right.
year we get nominated. We haven't won in like 8 years.
Best female recording.
Yeah,
best female recording.
And I think jazz. I think jazz vocal. At the time, they had a category for jazz, R&B, and pop, and I won that. So at any rate, but my most coveted acknowledgments, I'd like to say,
let's hear it.
The Julie Wilson Award. I was the first recipient. Julie picked me first.
Again, for people who don't know who Julie Wilson, I mean, amazing. And I remember when she passed.
Yeah.
And because I heard it from my girlfriend Stephanie, who was so close with her. That was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, when someone passes, it's a terrible thing anyway. But her impact on the cabaret community, Julie Wilson, was just amazing.
Her memorial was amazing. Her son is great. He's a great guy.
Holt is her son. Yeah.
Holt is like a really famous actor. Every time we look up on the TV, I'm like, is that Holt? That's Holt.
Yeah.
I think that's Holt. He's in everything. But so that meant a lot to me because she chose me. She said to Donald Smith of the Mabel Mercer Foundation, I need Susan to be the first winner and she told me privately, and now I can say it, I would never have shared this before when she was living, but she told me privately that it wasn't just that she thought I was a good singer. She kind of knew I was going to pick up her baton in terms of being a support to the community because she had taught me well. Right. I mean, I had her and Jan Wallman and Cynthia Crane and Trudy Mann as my mentors. How could I not be someone that supports this community? I would have failed them all as my mentors had I not picked up that baton.
Right,
I wouldn't.
Right.
I love these women so much. And then, I'm very pleased that on my 33rd year singing at Don't Tell Mama, they put up my poster on the wall.
That
that's meant
huge.
The world to me. And I'm right next to Billy Porter.
Oh my gosh. Good company, Sue, right?
There's Billy Porter.
And there's you, right.
Right. But that meant the world to me because Sydney and the people there had recognized that 33 years I had recognition. They were like my home base for many, many years. And then the bistro was very important to me because that one's chosen by reviewers. That's not your peers. That's not a friends and family. That's not a write-in or call-in. Mm-hmm. It was chosen by reviewers who I really respect. And we won for outstanding collaboration. We won. Gregory and I won together. And I couldn't imagine not sharing any award with him because he's the reason why I achieved a lot of this. So I owe him everything.
Well, right. And I'm sure if we talked to Gregory, he would say the same about you. So
but there is that humility of Sue Matsuki right there. Sue, there's so many wonderful adjectives I can use to describe Sue Matsuki. One is highly organized.
When you say type A?
No, she was another type A. Right?
And
we love each other so much.
and also supportive and just so nurturing. And you're always, if anybody in the cabaret community has a question, it's like, Sue, Sue is kind of like the centerpiece of the cabaret community. Really. Now, your organizational skills, you worked for a billionaire, correct?
Yeah.
For several years.
Yeah. I was a personal assistant and chief cook and bottle washer.
For a billionaire. Yeah, right. You need to be organized to do that.
Exactly. And you gotta have stuff at your disposal at the drop of a hat,
He was probably thought he was blessed to have you too.
We were blessed to have each other.
Yeah.
He was an amazing person. And I handpicked my replacement and he adores her. And every time I see him once in a while for lunch, he's like, we really love Kathy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I chose her for you. I know. She's great.
You just brought up something that I was going to ask you about because you're teaching up at Fordham. You're teaching with kids that want to get into cabaret and the entertainment business. What do you tell them about the need for survival jobs and the kind of survival jobs? And it can't just really be a survival job. It's got to be something you enjoy doing because it is so yin yang, the entertainment industry. Tell me your philosophy.
I think the ideal for anyone's job circumstances is to wake up in the morning and like where you're going. So if you have a boss like I had, and that was my day job, and I got up every morning really looking forward to seeing him and working with him, that's the ultimate. This boss also, I worked for 5 seasons at the Metropolitan Opera too.
Right. I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
I had 3-4 hour rehearsals in the middle of the day, and this
You
man,
were a diva double
I
at the
was a
Metro.
diva
What is
double.
it? I love that
tell
word, Tim.
I'll tell
We're
you.
diva doubles, even though I don't know what it
no,
means.
you are just plain divas, girls.
What's a diva double?
There was this girl who was a Russian girl, Katrina from Russia, and she and I look very similar. And for example, in Tristan and Isolde, she had to make a quick entrance onto stage, but the scene before was her screaming up in a tower, catching Tristan and Isolde in the garden. So I got to scream up in the tower, which was
You
awesome.
were the screamer. Oh, I love
That's actually what Ben Hefner used to call me. He goes, "Oh, it's the screamer," and I go, "You don't know, big guy."
Sue the screamer. That's right. Not just when she's up there either. Ooh. Tim, you usually say stuff.
And this
like
is why I like
challenging
her.
you today.
Yeah, this is why I like her. I'm sure it was an implication.
It was Tim's, definitely. He made me go.
That's why we work so well together.
But it's funny. Here goes. It's Wagner, right? So the stage comes down, and I go up, and James Levine was the conductor. So he said, "Okay, we're going to reset it. I don't like the scream coming off stage because one of the chorus people, because by contract you had to be a chorus person to sing. So he goes, I don't like the way that sounds. It's got to come." He goes, can you scream on cue?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, that's me."
I'm staying up in the tower. I'm like, "Yeah, I can." So they reset it. This is in full dress. I go up in the tower and I'm scared because it's Wagner. He said, "Scream on the downbeat." Okay, there's a couple of downbeats in Wagner. One, maybe.
Right.
But then, the pit lady that kind of cues people that's in that circular thing on the pit, she looks at me and she goes,
"Your cue?"
And I almost started laughing. And I almost started laughing, but I let out this blood-curdling scream because I was scared. Understandably.
But it was perfect.
Yeah,
I loved it.
And he was like, "Okay, she can do it." And all the musicians were like tapping their instruments, like, "Yay, good girl,"
Blood curdling.
I technically have a singing credit at the Met, but
I love it. So you're diva double.
Yeah, it was more visually, and there was in Trovatore, the same girl. As a matter of fact, the year she came back to do Trovatore, she had lost 30 pounds, and I had lost 30 pounds. So they called me up saying, "Katrina's thin now. What
state are you in?"
I said, "I just lost 30 pounds too."
What state is your body in?
And Graham Vick was directing that. He's a London director. So he walks up to me and he's talking to me as if I'm Katrina. And I said, "You realize it's Sue, right?" And he goes, "No, I didn't."
Wow. He didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. But I was in her full garb because I had to go up in this tower and sit there and basically push my bosom out with all her jewels and everything as the Trovatore sang to me, because she again had a quick entrance in a different dress. Wow. After that.
Nice.
The funniest story is we were up in this little tower and it was like swaying, me and the grip or whoever, and he was going to pull back the moon, right? And then I had
the moon. Wait, so you were behind the moon at the Metropolitan Opera?
Yeah,
up
so
above.
I had to kind of do one of these. They shine the light. Trovatore sings. Moon shuts down. All done. This guy, the second night. Oh, I don't even know. He passes wind in the tower.
Oh my God. Wind in the tower. There's wind in the tower.
And it's audible. So I start to giggle. And then I hear, "Excuse me." Oh, he laugh even harder. So the whole thing's shaking, right? The whole thing's shaking.
The tower's shaking.
Do you know the next night? I said to him when we got back up there the next night, I said to him, "We're not going to have a repeat of last night, are we?" And he starts laughing and it starts shaking.
It starts shaking.
It hit the fan. Take them down. They thought that the set was unsafe.
My God.
I'm probably going to get myself in trouble here. Putting
all over winds passing.
But they took us out. They didn't think the set was safe. And then afterwards, the Trovatore singer, the tenor, was like, "Hey, I was trying to sing it to Leonora. I don't know what mean. Like he was all upset because the moon didn't open. My boobs didn't open.
Oh my God, life goes on. The moon doesn't always show. Boobs don't always come out. Get real here, folks.
As we were coming down those steps, I said to this guy, "It stays up there. We say nothing." Or we both have been
What
fired.
happens in the tower stays in the tower.
Oh my goodness.
Great story. Absolutely.
Oh God.
Trapped with a
Really
man with
great.
gas. Oh my goodness.
So, with all of your experiences, okay, I'm curious. Do you go out also for regular theater roles, TV commercials, and And I'm curious, as a cabaret person, what gamut does your career run?
It's funny, in the show, This Broadway, I do this little bit about the one time it was a bucket list thing for me to actually go and stay for an audition. I would go and I'd sit there and I'd be all nervous and I'd change my tune 6 times. And then they'd say, Sue Matsuki, and I'd look around for the Asian girl and she never got up and I would sneak out.
Wow. Okay, that we got to talk about that. Why would you do that?
Fear.
Yeah.
And finally I said, okay, at like 50, I said, I need to get this.
Yeah, you need to move. Yeah,
list.
right.
So I went to an audition with no expectation. I knew I wasn't going to get it. And I just decided that I had to do this to kind of prove to myself.
Yeah.
So I did. I went in, I sang, and I actually got called for the dance.
Ah.
That's usually the next best step. So I went to the dance audition, and having been a dancer, they did, and I was really big at the time. This is when I was a 60, 70 pounds heavier than I am now. And so they couldn't believe that such a big girl could move. So they got a kick out of the fact that I could move like that. And I didn't get a call back to come in to sing, but I did make it to the dance audition. So I was so happy with that. I did what I needed to do.
But so you see, Matsuki did. Sue Matsuki did.
Right. And you see, what did you learn? You learned that you never know. You learned that
you have to try. This is what I would tell these young people.
Right.
You have to try. There's going to be a lot of no's, but when that one yes happens, or you actually have that personal success, that personal ta-da, I did it.
Yeah.
It feels better than getting a role sometimes because you did scary.
People are always asking me, how do you get these jobs and how do you know? I show up.
Right.
You have to show up, and you never know what door is going to open for you at this audition or over at this performance or who's in the audience of this show.
Exact same for me. Although, Tim, I will have to add, during the pandemic, with so many things I've been submitted for, and you send a little video and then they get back to you and they want something that, you need a major director to shoot. Right. And here's where I do what you do. It's not fear. It's just like, I look at my day, I look at bookings, I might have an infomercial or something. I do not have the time. And I know you get it. Mm-hmm. I feel bad about that. I just had it happen where, they wanted something of me working in my garden. Well, my garden's in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to be out there till this weekend. Right. Can you wait? Well, can you get there sooner? No, I can't. Yeah. And that's what's happened during this pandemic. I desperately want, personally, I'm sharing this with you, I want to be able to walk into like Ripley Greer or any of the studios and do my thing again. And I guess what I'm worried about is maybe that's not going to happen. Maybe it's going to be this all the time.
No, it's coming back.
It's coming back.
Absolutely.
Because she inspires people.
Yeah. And I think as long as we continue to be safe where we need to be safe, in crowded subways, on buses, walking the streets, not an issue. When you come into a club like here at PANGEA, you have to have proof of vaccination or you can't go in the room.
Right.
As long as people still keep this bar, that it'll continue and we'll find our way back to exactly what you said.
I agree.
You go first, Tim. And then
go ahead. I was going to do the break. Go ahead.
Got a bunch of people. Teresa Sabin, who's an amazing marketing person, always tunes in. Thank you for being here today. The infamous Jed Ryan. We love Jed Ryan.
We were talking about you before.
We were talking about you, Jed Ryan. Only good things, of course. And I give Jed Ryan all the time a kick in the butt. I'm like, you got it. Just go out there. Do it. I do probably for what you do for your students, of course. And John Jiggin Griffin, he said, brilliant. Wow. Look, I'm doing this, you guys, without glasses. That voice and presence, perfection, but can't resist saying your necklaces are fabulous too. And I'm gay after all. Well, if a gay man likes your necklaces, you're on the right track.
And also earlier, when you were talking about Richard Skipper, he says he was watching and he said, wow, I'm touched.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
this necklace. It's what Richard Skipper would call my summer necklace.
I love it. What makes
some diamonds and some are not.
Oh my God. I'm going to steal that. And I will give credit to Richard Skipper. All of mine are rhinestones. So not diamonds.
You're watching If These Walls Could Talk with your hosts, Wendy Stuart and Tym Moss, and our fabulous and wonderful guest, the amazing Sue Matsuki, which we love and adore. Oh my God. And you are also an author. Author.
You want to talk
So
about
you
your
want to sing. So you want to sing cabaret. Now, some of the quotes or the that you have received from that was such important information and a must read for all singers and teachers. I was fascinated by Chita Rivera.
Oh, I love that's the best quote.
Yes.
I love that. Oh my God. I mean, come on.
An absolutely invaluable resource, whether one wants to put together an entire act or simply learn to mine the depths of a song and really make it their own. Brian Stokes Mitchell. And everything you will need to know or ever consider about the art form, including interviews with some of the best artists in the business, an amazing accomplishment, Betty Buckley.
Betty,
So,
Look at the people that we got Candor and Ebb too. Candor, the guy who wrote all those Broadway shows and everything. He gave us a great
John Candor says a remarkable combination of instruction, inspiration, reminiscence, and just plain good sense. A wonderfully readable Bible for those interested in the world of cabaret, professionally or just out of curiosity. John Candor.
Wow. I love hearing all these accolades about you. I think you have really proven, Sue, that you are number one.
No, I know. No,
you're humble, but you look
I
what you're
don't want to
doing.
be number one, because if you're number one, where do you go? If you think you're number one, I will be that also ran. I will be that bridesmaid forever, because I think that's what spurs me on to always trying to raise my own personal bar.
You want to trace your I never asked you your sign.
My sign?
Yeah.
Oh, what's your sign, girl?
Capricorn.
I'm Scorpio.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's the other. I asked you that because there's a lot of similarities here about raising your own bar all the time.
Yeah, I always say that that's all I compete with. I raise my own personal bar each time I get on stage, and
I love
stay
that.
in my lane.
Yep. Now, if you want to find out everything about Sue Matsuki, can they go to your website?
Yes, I've just updated my website. You can get my blog there. You can see some more clips of me there. You can book me there. You can see the shows I offer and produce. Everything's on SueMatsuki.com, which I think he's scrolling.
Yep.
Matsuki.com. Yep. Now, and as far as your book, talk about your book a little bit.
The book you can get either on Amazon. You can get it through cabaret-hotspot.com. If you go, there's a second, you just click on the copy of the book and it'll take you there. And if you go that route, you can actually see that 90-minute show for free. It's right underneath the book sales. And anyone through this program, if you want to contact me through Tim or Wendy, I will give you a friends and family discount.
I love that.
Very sweet. And the name of the book is So You Want to Sing Cabaret.
Right. By Roman and Littlefield. It was done for the NATS, the National Associations of Teachers of Singing.
How cool.
And your live shows that you have coming up at PANGEA and at West Bank.
Okay, the live show. So we have the Jazz Brunch open mic every second Sunday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And we have one this Sunday. Come on down. I think it's a brilliant idea. June 13th, July 11th, August 8th, September 12th. And you have all of this on your website anyway, because I saw it there. And of course, Sue's show, which is 3 dates. I love that you're doing 3 dates in case people can't. It's important to do that. September 29th, October 23rd, and November 20th, which is her birthday.
Yay.
Scorpio, you're in the very beginning.
Yeah, I am. I'm actually at the end of it, so I share. I share a lot of Sag. So you have right. I live with 2 Scorpios. They are in the beginning. Right. I got my dates mixed up. It's the pandemic, ladies and gentlemen. It's not my fault. I blame everything on the pandemic. It's all on the pandemic. Thank you so much.
Sue, do you have anything that you can impart, any of your wisdom that you would like to impart on, say, someone who would like to get into cabaret?
Well, I just came from teaching a bunch of millennials who are outrageously talented to the point of I don't even want to sing in front of them. They're just they can all go right into a Broadway show right now, but because cabaret is new to them, I just want them to have passion for what they do. Yeah. And if this genre speaks to them, I want anyone who sings to sing from their heart and just have passion with and confidence in what they're doing, and that they are reaching people, especially now when we need to reach out and
we do touch. She just said something.
Absolutely, because when you do what Sue just recommended, you're coming from a place of authenticity and it's all your own.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly.
Yes. Oh, Sue, I just love and adore you. I just,
Back at you.
And I'm so happy that I got to meet you.
And we're
through-
new best
through
friends.
Tim.
Oh my
We're
God.
new best friends.
We're
Oh my
best
God.
friends.
We have
We're each other's nails.
we know each other's signs. Oh my God, I can't even say it. And you made it happen, Tim Moss, because at the end of the day, we are all connectors and we are all connected. And that's
Yep.
what it's about.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
absolutely. Sue Matsuki, thank you so much for coming on If These Walls Could Talk.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody who tuned in today. See you next week.
Bye.